This video will be about how to deal with problems and/or triage. This directly relates to my visit today. I visited my old school that I used to work at. And shout out to my peeps, yo. And talked to several of the students there. And some of them still had problems, and they talked to me about their problems. The thing is that there are several kinds of problems. There are temporary problems that you can do something about. There are temporary problems that you can't do something about. There are temporary problems you can maybe do something about. And then there are long-term problems that you can't do something about that you can do something about. Each of these has a very efficient way of dealing with it. Each of them has a very simple way to acknowledge what needs your energy and attention. For problems that are temporary, that you can do something about, the thing is simple. Do something about them. If you can do something about a problem, and it just requires a little effort from you, then make that effort. If it's a problem, which you have to acknowledge first, you have to go, oh, I have a problem. There's something I can do about it. I'll do that. Then there's problems that you may be able to do something about. What you have to do in that situation is a cost-benefit analysis. Is it worth your time to do something about that problem? Is it worth your time and energy to put stuff in to deal with a problem that is only temporary, that will go away given time? And it's up to you whether you want to do that. I can't tell you how to handle that. It's really up to you. And then there's temporary problems that you can't do anything about. Like, for example, a teacher that you don't much care for. This is a temporary problem. It is a problem for a year. It will go away given time. And just like being placed in a class with people that you don't like, that should change the next year. One hopes. But if you don't like a teacher, then you only have to deal with her for a year. Or him. That's okay. You're good. If you do like a teacher, cherish that time because you only have them. Probably for a year. Temporary things are beautiful because they're temporary. Then you got long-term issues. Long-term issues, if you have a problem that you can do something about in the long term, again, decide if it's worth your energy to fix it. If it's something that you can do something about. A long-term issue, like something dealing with school or work or a long-term situation that you may or may not have direct control over. Long-term issues require a lot of work to fix. And sometimes that work... one of my favorite sayings is that he who plants dates does not eat dates. You can't... And what that means is that dates are a type of fruit. They're a very sweet fruit that is popular in hot regions. The problem is dates come from a tree that takes 80 years before it will produce fruit. So most of the people who plant it, they're not planting it because they want dates. It's not like an apple tree where you'll get apples in a few years, or pecans, or oranges, or whatever. If you plant a date tree, you're basically planting it for your children, or your grandchildren, because it will not grow dates while you're going to be able to enjoy them. That's what most of my teaching has been. It's not gonna fix the problems that my students have. It's going to give them the tools that they need to fix the problems that their kids are going to have. A lot of teaching is not about fixing right now. It's about fixing the future, or hoping to, or trying to. Anyway, I probably said that before, now that I think about it. Anyway, long-term problems, sometimes they're worth the effort of fixing. Sometimes it's worth it to topple a government that is, not working. Or sometimes it's worth fighting a system that you can bring down. Sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes, and sometimes you're not going to see any improvement on that front. A lot of people who just want women to have equal rights have been fighting for a full lifetime and still haven't seen it. A lot of people are the same with gay rights, trans rights, whatever. Even rights for races, genders, whatever. So it's worth it to make the effort, but especially when you're younger, you have to decide what fights are worth fighting. I know this will be a tremendous surprise to many of you who are very young, but you have a limited amount of energy. I know it doesn't seem like it right now. You have a limited amount of energy to put into things. You can only do so much with each day. And so what you really want to do, even those of you who I agree with, and you know who you are, what you really want to do is you want to pick the fights that are worth having. You want to make a fight that is going to do some good towards what you want to do it with. You're going to want to pick your fights, pick your battles. And some fights just aren't worth having. Sometimes the good you'll do for yourself and others is not enough good for the time you have to put in. Because like I said, we all only have a certain amount of energy. And then there's fights that you can't win. And you know that you can't win. And as you get a little older and a little wiser, you realize that sometimes that's just the way it works. You realize that sometimes a fight can't be won. And that's not to say that you should give up, or that you should leave, or you should run, or you should hide, or you should become a martyr to that fight. It's your choice whether you want to do those things. Triage suggests that you remove yourself from the stressful environment. But what it really comes down to is where you can do the most good for the causes that matter to you. If your fight, even if it's completely different from mine, if your fight does good to your cause, then it is a worthy fight. It is worth having. And I've talked about fights worth having before. But when it comes to triage, when it comes specifically to what you want to spend your energy on, especially for my younger students who are dealing with things because they're teenagers. They're always dealing with things. Your life is rough when you're a teenager. Quiet. You don't buy that. Not right now. But you're dealing with things. Some things are going to suck. That's just kind of how life is. You're going to have situations you can't control, especially when people don't respect you. You're going to have situations where you're being told what to do and you have to do it. And that is rough, especially when you've tasted a little bit of responsibility. And most of my former students were just on the cusp of getting that responsibility. Responsibility is awesome, especially at first. But the truth is that while you're under a certain age, people have power over you. And while that sucks, it's just kind of the way it works. So there are fights you can fight. And if it is worth your time, if you decide that it is worth your time, fight it. 100%. Go for it. Win. Go fight, win. And if you guys need me, I know there's a public message option here. Also, I'm on Facebook. There are only 2 Chris Carleys in the world, both with K's. Carly, K-A-R-L-I. And on Facebook, and both of them are me. So if you need advice or help, send me a message. It's fine. I'm good with that. If I feel weird about it, like, don't send me anything creepy, because you are still children. And you know that I know that you're weird kids. But at the same time, nothing creepy. I am an adult and you're not. But if you need help, if you need backup, if you need advice, I will give you as straight of advice online as I did in person. I don't know you as well. It's been a year. Lots of you are freaking significantly taller. But if you need advice, if you need backup, if you need somebody to tell you whether you're being stupid or not, because I've told you many times before, sometimes you're going to be stupid. Just happens. You're young. But if you need advice or support or whatever, look me up. I'm not hard to find. You found the YouTube. So, take care. Good to see you all. I'm sorry to the few of you that I missed. And, I couldn't really know for sure when I would be there, so couldn't really warn anybody. But I may try to come again, I may not. It's hard going back. It's really hard. But it was super great to see some of you. There were a couple of you that, I narrowly avoided just going, oh, you grown so much, you're so good, oh my God. But I didn't. You should be proud of me. And keep growing. Keep doing the things that matter to you. Keep doing the stuff you love. And don't let the man get you down. Because you're awesome and you're going to do great things. I know you are. I believe in you. And those of you who told me you're failing something, well, if it's worth your time to fix it. If it's not worth your time to fix, you're a teenager. That's okay. You can screw up a little bit. It's allowed. It's the best time to do it. When there's no real consequences. Everything you're doing right now, unless the permanent rule happens, which don't do anything permanent, birth, death, lose a limb, etc. As long as you don't do anything permanent, do all the mistakes now. It's time. Have fun. Good luck. Anyway, love you all. Take care of yourselves. And have a great day. Bye. Beep boop.